Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I'm pretty excited for this video because I'm going to be testing out a huge eyeshadow palette, and I'll leave a picture on screen real quick just so you can see what it looks like in pictures. So there's a little story that goes along with this, and basically I saw this palette and I kind of hated it just because of how big it is, and I don't really love pressed glitters, and there was a lot of funny names going on. I talked about it in an indie makeup releases, and I made a joke that if I got the palette, if I was like buying things that I didn't really see myself using that much, I would do a video testing out the world's biggest eyeshadow palette or something along those lines. And after posting any makeup releases, the brand actually reached out to me and they were super cool. Which was nice considering I kind of roasted the palette a little bit, and they said, you know, even though you don't like the names, we would really love for you to try the palette. And I thought I had said, you know, I'd like to do a, like, testing the world's biggest palette type of thing, because I always think of different video ideas that technically like cost money, but you don't know if it'll like come out to end up balancing itself or whatever. And also with my low buy rules and stuff, I'm just not buying things I don't see myself using, even if it could potentially be beneficial. So when they reached out to me, I asked on Instagram just to make sure everyone was okay, because I did roast the palette, if y'all would like to see a first impression or like some type of video on it, and I got like 75% of people said yes, so that's what we're doing today. So this is the palette, and I was like, wow, that is so big. And then I got it in the mail, and it's still big, like it's still a giant palette, but I thought it was going to be bigger. I thought it was going to be like much bigger just because of the way it looked in the pictures. Like I even was trying to think of a funny way to do like a DIY palette to table video. I don't know if I'm not, I feel like I'm not that funny enough to pull it off, but it's not that big. I mean, it's big, but it's not that big. So just to give you a comparison really quickly to get it right out of the way, this is the Morphe 39S. All their 39 palettes are like the same size, and you can see, lining it up, that it's just a little bit bigger than the Morphe 39 palettes. So it is still the biggest palette that I own. It's still huge. It's just not like, I thought it was going to be like something that will like take up like this entire screen, and I thought it was going to be table worthy, but it's not. It's like basically the size of a laptop, which I guess is good. So I figured I would still go ahead and do this video, still title it the world's biggest palette or something, because it is the biggest palette I own. But anyways, this is the Exotic Pup palette from King Beauty. There's the name there, and it says that it's cruelty-free, and it says this is your secret eyeshadow palette with 88 vivid and pigmented colors. I'm not quite sure how you would keep this a secret. It's pretty out there. It does come with a like little sheet protecting the shadows, and it literally just says eyeshadow number 1, eyeshadow number 2, and eyeshadow number 3. So I feel like the writing on this is kind of pointless, but it is there just to keep everything, you know, clean. And goodness, here is what the palette looks like. So it is a lot of colors. It's huge. It definitely is. The entire bottom row here, almost except for the black, is all pressed glitters, which I'm not about, so I'm probably not going to use those. But I will say I haven't swatched anything yet, but looking at it, I feel like the shimmers actually look like they're going to be really metallic. So I thought I would go ahead and swatch maybe like 10 shades or something, just to do like a little random variety of shadows and give you guys an idea of the palette. I'm not going to sit here and swatch all 88 shades. I feel like that would be crazy. And also I do just want to mention that that the palette does look a little dirty with some shadows. Like this one here, Sweet Toffee, there's like a little bit of purple shadow in. This one has a little purple shadow in it. I feel like that one has some speckles of purple, so I don't know if it just like moved, because it doesn't look like anything broke. Like there's stuff on the packaging, and some of them just look a little bit dirty, so that's a little bit worrisome, but I'm still gonna try it. So I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be cool if it ends up not being horrible, and it does fold all the way back, which I personally really appreciate in a palette. So which one should we swatch? All right, I turn the other way because I feel like it's my better side. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this one here called Dessert. I mean, that feels creamy. It's pigmented. It's like a rose gold. Looks nice. Let's see. We'll do rose gold. This blue here, because it makes me laugh. That looks, I mean, it looks good. Let's see. We'll do this shade called Secret Garden, because that looks right up my alley. Ooh, okay. It's kind of like looks like Makeup Geek Voltage. And then we'll do this one called Pretty Girl. That one's a little bit more of a satin. That doesn't feel as creamy. I mean, that's not bad. And also, I should mention, it does smell like very, very cheap makeup. It reminds me of the first eyeshadow palette I ever bought on Amazon. I think it was like Shani Cosmetics, and it was like a 40 color, like super bright matte chalky shadows. It smells to me like that. It kind of brought me back a little bit. I guess I should go ahead and do some mattes. So I'll do this Just Eyes right here, which looks really pretty. So that has decent pigmentation. I'll do Skinny. Oh no, that one's a little bit sheer. We'll do Spark Wings. That one feels a little more dry, but there's pigmentation to it. And then we'll do the black, which is Unapologetic. Ooh. Yeah, the mattes don't feel as good, obviously. They're very dry. Here, we'll go ahead and do just a few more. I want to do this pastry shade here that looks really pretty. Oh wait, that's pastry and that's pastry. Did I already do this one? I don't think I did. That's a really pretty color though. And then we could do Retrograde. Ooh, I like that one. And then we'll do Good Ego. Yeah, that still feels pretty dry. A little bit chalky. And then I guess I'll swatch one of the pressed glitters just in case anyone is curious. We'll do this one called Fantasy. I'm pressing down in it and it feels just very glittery. It doesn't like really feel like there's a good adhesive to it, but it looks pretty. There's a few example swatches. I'm not quite sure how to feel. I'm curious to see how the mattes will end up blending on the eyes. The shimmers look all right. So definitely gonna go ahead and give it a chance now. Let me wipe off my arm. Alright, so I already primed my eyes with the Makeup Revolution Cut Crease Canvas in the shade Illustrate. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this shade right here called Glow. I just dipped my brush in and it actually picked up really well. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in my crease as my transition. It's a really nice peachy shade. I'm actually kind of surprised at how well that just picked up on my brush. I'm going to go ahead and take this shade right here called Skillful. Again, you can see on my brush it's picking up really well. I'm going to go ahead and kind of tap off the excess so I don't get fallout. And I'm going to put that down a little lower in my crease. Alright, I'm going to go back in with my previous brush and just blend the edges. Alright, now I'm going to go into this shade right here called Bonbon. It's like kind of like a really deep purple. I love shades like that. That one's not picking up as much on the brush. I'm just going to go ahead and kind of dig in a little. And I'm going to pop that onto the outer V. I mean, that's okay pigmentation. It's not as dark as what the color looks like in the pan, but it is showing up. Alright, just going to go ahead and go back in with my previous brush. Just blend out the edges. I did get a little bit of fallout on my lower lash line here from that last shade. I'm going to go ahead and take this shade, Just Eyes, and I'm going to pop that on my lower lash line on like the outer half. The pigmentation actually looks pretty good because that was one that kind of swatched very dry looking, but it looks okay. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and grab that shade Pastry, and I'm going to pop that on the front of my lower lash line. Alright, for my lid, I'm going to go ahead and use this shade right here called Dessert on the inner half, and then the outer half, I'm going to use the one underneath it called Define. I feel like this shade kind of just appears more as a satin, not super metallic, but it is a pretty duochrome. Talk about fallout! Ah! Definitely tap your brush off. Oops. Alright, now going in with Define. just gonna blend that in. Alright, for my inner corner, I'm gonna go into the shade Secret Garden, and then I'm gonna use over here for my under the brow highlight. Alright, last but not least, I'm just going to go in with my original blending brush and just lightly go over the edge. Alright, quickly I'm going to throw on some eyeliner and some mascara, and I'll be right back. Alright, so to finish up my face really quickly for highlighter today, I'm going to go ahead and use the Ofra Pillow Talk highlighter, which is one of my favorite pink highlights. And then for lips, I'm going to use the Pat McGrath lip gloss in the shade Divine Rose. Alright guys, so this is the finished look today, and I feel a little bit mixed about this palette. I think overall I actually do really like the look, and I don't like mean to be like negative or be like I actually like it or it's okay, but I feel like sometimes when you get like these gigantic palettes and they're all so many colors, it's hard to expect it to be a really good product. I will say I feel like the mattes are a little bit hit and miss. Like I feel like you can't tell that I used a super dark purple on my outer V. It definitely ended up blending a little bit lighter, but everything did blend all right. Like I don't have any harsh lines. It wasn't hard to blend per se. So, I mean, the mattes are all right. The glitters are not my personal favorite, but just from swatching, it doesn't feel like they have a great adhesive in them. And I feel like for a pressed glitter, if you are someone who likes to use pressed glitters, when I have used them in the past, I prefer it to have a little bit of something to it, so it sticks better. Then for the shimmers, I felt like they were pretty good, a little bit chunky. When you put your brush in, you definitely want to tap it off afterwards before you go into your eye, but overall I feel like they were pretty good, like not bad by any means. Although for me personally, there's definitely, I don't see myself reaching for this a whole ton. There's definitely like 8 million other things in my collection I would prefer to reach for. I have mattes that I like better. I have metallics I like better. So I guess I would recommend this to someone maybe like who is a teenager or who doesn't have a ton of makeup and wants a lot of options. And because it did blend easy but nothing got super dark, it might be good for someone who's a beginner and who doesn't want a ton of depth and wants to keep it pretty soft. Or if you want some pressed glitter options. I mean, I could see why someone would want to try this palette, and I don't think it's bad by any means. I also really liked that first transition shade that I went in with. I thought it was a really pretty peachy color. So overall, I mean, I do think it's a little funny with the different names, two pastries, rose gold, this blue is called chocolate. So that's basically where I'm at with the palette. If you have any questions at all, or if I missed mentioning anything, please feel free to comment down below, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.